Well, I'm Murray Brown, and I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, 1913. I'm athletic minded. I'm fortunately to have I've been so fortunate to have had the grown up to the height that I did because it gave me an opportunity to play with the big boys. Everything ends up with a basketball in hand or football. I started out as an independent basketball player, and I meant by independent, I don't mean like it sounds. I was playing for the Santa Fe Trails in to Kansas City, and later, why we went to Denver to get in the national tournament. Well, if you got to win in the tournament, you got to play on the Olympic team because there wasn't any Olympics before. This is the first try. You had a chance to get on the Olympic team, and the first Olympic team that the United States had. Henry Iba was the coach and a good friend of mine, and he selected me, and so. But I didn't get a chance to play with on the Olympic team. We came close. We ran second, but we didn't make the top team. December 7th. That is quite a day to go down in infamy, as President Roosevelt said. We were in church Sunday, and we came out and went across the street to our favorite drugstore. We were having a cup of coffee, and I looked at it as getting closer to getting drafted. And it was about, a month, 2 months when I got drafted. And they told me, if you ever get drafted, join the Navy. So you will be already taken care of. The United States Navy is very popular in this area, and I liked the end of it. So I beat them, and I joined the Navy, and I think I've been very happy with the Navy ever since. And I've never had to work too hard. Fortunately, I was able to grab one of the soft jobs, as they say. I am real fortunate to have been selected. I have a friend he was a great football player at the University of Notre Dame called Moon Mullins. You may have heard of him, you know not. But he drafted me. He got me interested, and then he drafted me and got me started with the Navy. And I think it was a lucky break to be with him. I did physical education work. The Navy had established, a group. It seemed like about half of the Navy was in it, the physical education end of it. And when you start with the physical education, well, you start building up the body, and you start working with guys that have been through it ahead of you. Well, it would depend on how soon you got them right away from the draft lines or something. They had a training program second to none. I had a book about that thick that they got printed, and you could follow it or maybe use it, and I used it quite a bit. But I think there were 12 or 13 different programs that they taught. Lake swimming was taught, and oddly enough, some guys come into the service not able to swim, but they learned to swim quick, or else they'll drown. The more important thing was the detail of knowing what to do, where to go, and so forth. You always had that in mind as a result of your program. I can't recall working with a lot of guys that didn't object to work. They were all willing. We're going, and they're a bunch of wonderful kids because they were all much younger than I am. But I was kind of anxious to get acquainted with a lot of the other coaches to get their opinions. You begin to wonder, what are you doing any good with this training business? I had been doing that in coaching, in the football coaching and so forth. And I taught at the Topeka, Kansas High School, and later taught at College of Emporia. And I went to a very famous spot on the globe in the United States, in California, Del Monte, California. It's everybody laughs when I say that because it's really a fun place to get sent to because of the notoriety that they've established. Had to pack up and go out to Carmel and get established, and I think it took about a year to get us established. So then when we was moving up, we also were able to say goodbye and go on to Hutchinson, Kansas, to the Naval Air Station in Hutchinson, Kansas. To begin with, we went to Hutchinson, and then later went to Roseau, Michigan, physical education. There I learned to visit with, coach with, some of the Detroit Lions that were stationed at the place where I was. They had a basketball team there, and it seems like to me, whenever I go someplace, I go as a basketball player. So they look at me and say, well, you're tall enough, and so forth. However, the guys today will make pygmies out of me. We won the championship of the whole Navy one time at Corpus Christi, and Sam Berry was the well-established guy, and he coached the team, and I played basketball for him, as well as doing my Navy duties. Unfortunately, I almost always had another part of my life had to be with the Navy doing something other than basketball. The whole setup was made up of football coaches and basketball coaches from where the word go. Wherever they drafted the guy, he had to play basketball or football. And I was fortunate to play both of them. We had a sad thing happen with a couple of boys, two of them that get killed. We'd invite them out to lunch and dinner, kind of entertain, make you feel at home, because they were away from home. The plane that they were riding in went down, and it killed the two of them, and as well as the crew that was. But boy, that really hit me. One of them was a former student of mine in high school at Kansas City, way back when. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. Incidentally, I've made a couple of good connections in the Navy. I met Bob Hope, and I got him to come to Corpus Christi, and we had him booked to come to Corpus. I mean, I decided to try to get him to come to Corpus, so, and I don't know, maybe I was influential, I don't know. You never know. The United States Navy can do a lot of things. It has a lot of power. The war ended, and then they started getting back to the Navy bases and so forth and so forth. That turned out to be an opportunity for me to get in on the traveling of the. It wasn't an opportunity. I didn't really go for it, but I did it. You always do it with a smile. Back at right at the end of the war, why they started getting guys out of the service. So they sent me down to San Diego to be a troop-trained commander because of my authority. Now I've got 2 stripes, you know, and big shot. Took the troops back to Great Lakes, and then one time to Boston. It took us 6 days to go to train. They would take the back routes. They wouldn't go the correct, just the direct. They'd take the back. And so then I would end up in Boston, and then I had to get back to the Navy base at San Diego. I did about 2 or 3 of those trips before I got put on the retirement. When I got drafted, I was coaching at Topeka High. I had an opportunity to get out of the Navy about 46, and then 1946, and seems like I ended up right back at the Topeka High when I got out. And then before the year was up, I had accepted the job at the College of Emporia because I wanted to move up, an opportunity to move up, and it was a good job. And well, eventually I just went into insurance. I spent several years getting ready for it, and then I took a job with a good friend of mine that was an insurance man there in town, and I joined him, and I ended up in Kansas City, 1958. It was younger people. Most of them were younger, and I was younger too. Immediately got organized with a group of guys that are trying to get incorporation for this little big town to be. When we had incorporation, that was fun. We wanted to incorporate because we wanted to get this city on the map. Most everything ended up in my lap or something. So fortunately, I got in the way of things that got started and stopped and started again. We got a lot of things done that we wanted to get done. There was a nice shopping center, but I had a paint store in the shopping center, which was smaller than much smaller than the Target. Brown's of Broomfield. Lucy worked in the front end of it, and I worked in the paint department. It was in one of the shopping centers, the only shopping center in town. So as a result, we got acquainted with a lot of people, and I suppose I spent 10 years trying to make it go of the thing, and it was just too small a town. But today, well, we would have had a bonanza. I'm real fortunate to have come to Broomfield. They've treated me nice. They made me a mayor, and I was active in the chamber right from the beginning because I was right in a good position to work with them. I used to go around to the other chamber of commerces in town, not in town, but out of town, close by, and try to get some ideas from them and work with them. And it looked like we were going to expand into a big city. Either, I don't know how many people, but it seemed like to me all of a sudden it all began to swell. We built a city, and we did a good job. But unfortunately, the city grow too fast. We didn't realize that we were going to grow to the extent that it had. It's just amazing. But we have been here ever since. I don't know what's going to happen from here on because I don't have any jurisdiction or any idea of what's going to happen. The Navy was a good place for me to be because I was proud of my existence. I kept meeting people that had been in the Navy way back all my life. But it's one of the best things I ever did, one of the smartest things I ever did. I don't know, I think back, maybe I should have stayed in the Navy. I like to reminisce because it gives me a chance to brag.